So welcome to a channel update, not a battle replay, although there will be one running in the background. I won't be making any commentary on it, it will just be a sort of visual backdrop to the words that I'm going to be saying. And I felt as though a channel update was necessary because it's been a little while since I've done one and the situation is sort of changing a little bit and there may be some effects on my channel as a result, so I thought I'd keep people posted on that. Both in the very long term, the not so long term and the short term there will be a few things going on which may very well affect how I'm going to be doing things on the channel. For the time being though, things should remain as they are for at least the next couple of months, maybe 3 months. Then there may start to be a few changes, but fear not, I'm not going to be going anywhere, at least not for the time being. I think we'll start off going from the very long term more than anything else, because obviously recently, as I'm sure many people have noted, Article 13 was passed in the EU, which won't affect anyone for quite a while yet. I mean, I did read up on this because it may affect me. Usually I try to avoid politics like the plague. But as a result of it, in 2 years, these things will come into place, or at least in a maximum of 2 years. It's very unlikely to be anything within the next year or so. We'll sort of start to see things later on, and while I may be in the UK and while the idea is that we will be leaving the EU, it is the sort of thing which I can certainly see us adhering to anyway. And the reason why I feel as though this might affect me is purely the fact that, you know, obviously I do Third Age Reforged primarily, and while I will be sort of branching out into other things both in the short term and in the long term, I think anyway. Obviously if they don't go too well then I won't bother, but that will limit my channel and what it's capable of doing fairly drastically. But again, that's something that we'll be going on to later on in the video. But it does use Lord of the Rings imagery, of course, and Warner Brothers in the past have been very, you know, they grip their rights to Lord of the Rings very, very tightly. And I do feel as though it's the sort of thing where if you have anything Lord of the Rings in your video, it's the sort of things which the inevitable content upload filters will pick up and then just sort of weed out. It's possible, it's not definite, but I mean, we'll see where that goes. It is a danger, however, because obviously if I'm deprived of uploading anything to do with Third Age Reforged, even if it is in a couple of years, when a lot can change for both the channel and just in general, that will essentially kill my channel, which I hope is not the case, but we'll see. Again, a lot of things are in flux, and the further away things are, the more difficult they are to predict. But that is the first thing, so very long term, that is something to consider. But it's, you know, it's not going to come into play anytime soon. Closer, however, is the fact that I am approaching the end of my university degree, and you know, that means that a few things may change depending on what happens after the degree is finished. So I'm in my final year right now, and technically speaking I will be done by late May. That will be when all of my stuff is handed in, and then things will progress as they will. Now obviously if the end goal here is for myself to get full-time employment while using my degree, then that will affect how much I'm able to put out in terms of content on the channel. You know, naturally, if I have got a full-time job, while in terms of hours it probably won't be any worse than what I do at uni. At uni I have a little bit more flexibility with where I do my work. A lot of my work is done at home, on my home machine, developing my stuff, because I do computer science as my degree. So I can do a lot of my work from home, which of course means as soon as I'm done I can then just flick over to Third Age Reforged, record a battle, get it rendering, or I can have something rendering in the background as I work away on my work. That is not going to be the case if I get a job somewhere, because obviously I need to travel there and travel back, and it will make things a little bit more tricky. And in that case I would have to cut down on the amount I upload from about 4 videos a week on average to probably about 2. That is rather unlikely, however, because the most likely scenario is actually one where not a lot changes, because I think what I'm going to be doing next year is I think I'm going to be doing a Masters, which does essentially mean that from a viewer's perspective it will just be another year of nothing really changing from your perspective, at least as far as my uploads go. So yeah, I mean, again, this is the sort of thing which may not have any impact at all, but it is also the sort of thing where possibly, you know, the channel could undergo a few changes with regards to the amount of content that I upload. But again, that is sort of a discussion for a few months' time, I feel like. But again, it's just good to keep everyone in the loop with regards to what I'm going to be doing, because I have, you know, one of the things I have strived to do is to be very regular with my upload schedule, which I have managed to stick to for the most part, other than when my PC was gone for repairs, of course, which was very annoying. But other than that, I have managed to keep to my own upload schedule, which I'm happy with. But again, if things do change, that will be why. And then into the short term, or at least shorter term, the upcoming release of Total War 3 Kingdoms, which I do actually intend to do a few things on. Now, I know that quite a lot of the people that are my viewers sort of only expect me to do Third Age Reforged, which is fine. If that is the ultimate fate of my channel, to just do this one sub-mod of a mod for a game, then that's fine with me, because I don't really intend, me to do YouTube as a job, essentially. That's fine by me. If if my channel sort of tomorrow suddenly gained a whole host of followers, then yeah, I would happily accept all of the plaudits that come with that. But in all likelihood, this is sort of what my channel is going to be if Third Age Reforged is all I'm going to be doing. Now, I do want to do a bit of Three Kingdoms, because it does interest me, in spite of the somewhat spotty information that we have so far. Some of it looks very good, like the diplomacy system. Some of it doesn't look so good, like the battle AI looks very, very squiffy. But yeah, I will be doing a bit of Three Kingdoms, I think, and we'll see how that goes. I mean, again, Total War again is just another form of limitation that I've got on my channel at the moment, really. But it is at least a bigger limitation than the one that I have at the moment. Now, again, if no one really wants to see that, I will post some up. But if no one really wants to see it, if it just gets downvoted into oblivion, of course I'll feel sad about that. But I will always be doing Third Age Reforged for as long as my channel is a thing. But people do also need to understand that if I only do Third Age Reforged from now until whenever my channel ends, that does put a sort of hard limit on how far my channel can go and how long my channel can last. So that is something to bear in mind, I feel like. But again, it won't be taking away from any Third Age stuff when I do a bit of Three Kingdoms. It will just be in addition to Three Kingdoms after all. The battles will probably be a little bit shorter, the ones that I post for Three Kingdoms, because all of the stuff that I do for Reforged tends to be very large scale battles on a game engine in Medieval 2, which makes the battles last quite a long period of time. So yeah, that is the sort of long-term, mid-term and short-term plans that I have with regards to what I'm going to be posting on the channel, so just keeping people in the loop. With regards to what's coming up more recently, however, I think I can actually give a more solid schedule for what I'm actually going to be releasing in terms of exact battles over the course of the coming week, which should be, I have a scenario which I think is from the Mech Discord on a map called Old Forest Road, which I'm looking forward to showing, because it is a rather interesting set of rules for a free-for-all, actually, so got to look forward to that. That one will probably be the one that I post up next, actually. I also have a .97 battle, a scenario in fact, which I believe it's okay to post now, at least J-Monster has given me the go-ahead, although that will probably be later on in the week, probably the weekend perhaps even. I also have, I think, another historical scenario upcoming, which, I know people are big fans of the historical stuff, so I'm going to be doing one of those as well. Also, actually, one thing that I will be engaging in is Scouts of Entertainment, who is another person who posts up videos on YouTube, who I actually haven't had the pleasure of interacting with all that much, to be fair. I don't think I've ever spoken to him directly, unlike several of the others, like Lucky Hussar, J-Monster and Gondorian Smith, so I will be speaking to him, and I think he will be live streaming that. I think he's got his own little podcast, which I'm going to be going on. I think J-Monster's already been on, and I think I am going on it as well. I think that will be on Thursday, at least that's the sort of estimates for when that will be, so that'll be interesting. Again, I've never spoken to Scouts, so I'm actually looking forward to actually speaking to him directly, because it's always good to get other people's perspectives on the mod, because obviously he posts, I think, even more Reforged stuff than I do, actually. His video output is very, very high, so it'd be good to get someone else's perspective who clearly has immersed themselves in the mod as well. So that will be the next 4 things to look out for. So obviously 3 battle replays for myself and that little podcast that I'm going to be going on. But yeah, I mean, for the most immediate future, nothing is really going to change, but it is worth keeping those things in mind as we move forward. My channel has remained relatively static in what it does for a little while now, and I do feel as though changes are going to be happening soon. Whether that's with regards to the content that I post, or whether that's just sort of outside factors that I can't control, such as employment. Even when I do a Masters, it may be that the Masters is intense enough to the point where I have to sort of drop maybe one of the videos a week and instead go to doing 3 vids a week rather than the average of 4, which is not too bad, I feel like, but it is the sort of thing to bear in mind again. And obviously, again, I do want to branch out into other forms of content as well, because I do feel as though I am in danger once again of stagnating, really. And when 0.97 comes out, that will be less of an issue, because there will be a lot of new stuff to talk about, but I do obviously feel myself repeating myself quite a bit on the videos that I post up with regards to things that I'm saying, like the unit matchups and stuff. I feel as though 0.96.1 has really run its course with regards to what I can actually say about it, and it's really just sort of interesting maps and interesting scenarios that that 0.96 has put in now, that I can comment on and have some sort of fresh experiences. So yeah, 0.97 can't really come fast enough in those terms, but I also feel as though I do want to branch out into a couple of other things, but again, we'll see. Nothing's set in stone yet. So yeah, hope you found this somewhat informative, at least with regards to my thought process and where we're going. And I hope you'll join me for whatever is next, which, as I said, is probably going to be the scenario that Dark Wolf gave me from the Mech Discord.